back in November when we picked the annual meeting theme of troubled times, we had no idea that our troubled times were going to be a pandemic, that our troubled times would be even more chaos in politics, or that our troubled times would be so hurtful and so poignant and so critical about social justice. And so in our planning, we had to make adjustments, and I think that they are really good adjustments, and they give us space and time and a way to think about the times that we're living in and the times that we're going to be living in for probably quite a while right now, and think about it, if not differently, at least in different perspectives, and at least in ways that can help us move forward as a conference, as individual churches, and as people of the Christian faith. And I am really looking forward to not just what's going to be presented at this conference, but what people's reactions are going to be to it, and whether or not we can find space for making sure that we can reflect together on whatever happens.
Yeah. I love that. And we tried to put those spaces into the meeting schedule. And I think we're going to have dynamic opportunities to talk with one another and learn how to be together in new ways that we've not been tested on before. You know, I think the thing I've asked of people throughout this last few months has been to be gracious with one another and to be understanding that we're all just doing this for the first time. I remember very early on, one of my pastors called and said, you know, I wasn't trained to be a TV producer, right? And all of a sudden we were thrust into the world of TV production, even though that's not what any of us had studied or really know all the ins and outs. So our annual meeting, first time we'll do it this way, but excited for the opportunity, the new dynamic opportunity. You know, the thing I like about worship services on Sunday when they're on Zoom is we're not seeing the back of everybody's head any longer. We're seeing everybody face to face, and that'll be the same way it is at annual meeting as we gather on Zoom to have live sessions. Some of our sessions will be pre-recorded and some of our sessions will be live. So there will be a mix up of both of them. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
And I think as we think about these troubled times, specifically leading in troubled times, similar to what Sue was just saying of what we were trained to do, or what we brought forward, even what was required of us prior to March and to today, things that we should have been doing. we should have been knowing how to lead or to be online. And, you know, that's a place I've heard so many times, like almost a disappointment. People who had been looking for a progressive church and just didn't know it was there. We've not been very good about a social media presence. We have this amazing church, amazing theology, and really this incredible openness and progressive perspective of Scripture. And people couldn't find us. They didn't know we existed. And there's something about this time that's pushing us out there in a way that people are finding us. And it's past time, but it's here and we're responding, and that's what matters. I think similarly with the social unrest, we should have been in conversations about racism long before this, particularly as white community, a primarily white denomination. But we are now, and the conversations, I've been in more conversations about race in the last 3 weeks with white folks than I've ever had. And I think this moment is inviting us to reimagine what it means to be a leader in a Christian community today. What is most essential for us as Christian leaders, clergy and lay? What is being asked of us now in what the church needs to be? And I feel like we're rising to this moral call. And to me, it's exciting. And I think this annual meeting is a chance for us to come together and share stories about how we've been responding, and to be able to continue to inspire one another and learn from one another. And as Sue says, you know, extend grace. We're all on a path of learning and discovery. And I know I am better for all the conversations and all the relationships that I have through this conference. And every time I meet somebody new, I feel like my world expands. So I'm just excited for us to be able to come together in this particular time and ask ourselves, what does it mean for us to be church today?
Yeah. Love
We
that.
have lots to celebrate.
We do.
And that's what this is.
Yeah.
We're coming together in troubled times, but to remember that we are stronger together. And we sure hope you'll join us for all the wonderful things that are going to be brought to you right in your own home.
Pajamas and coffee and
Yes.
cocktails, whatever it is you may want to
Right.
And your own communion elements. All the things that we're learning to do new.
You know, Erin, you talked about how people are finding us. I also think, I really strongly believe it's a time we're finding ourselves as churches and as Christians, and having to put that forward in a different voice.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. So I'd like to chat for just a brief moment about the state of the conference. Kay, you made a really good point a couple of days ago about the investment that we've made over the years in connection. Do you want to talk for a moment about that?
Well, it seems like ever since I've been back in the conference, which has been 7 years, I think, the focus has been on connecting and building relationships with each other. And I think, especially in this time, from what I am seeing, those hours, times, gatherings, working on those relationships is paying off in a very good way, and has helped make the conference strong in this difficult time.
There's this aha moment, perhaps, starting in this moment of added pressure and different ways of being church. This aha moment that I can be a Christian, really active and empowered, enfranchised in my own right, that I have something to say about what's happening in my church and what's happening in my community, perhaps in ways that people hadn't always grasped before. And I think that's the beauty of this moment that we're entering into. And my hope for annual meeting, as we engage in this, and this is, you know, an invitation for you all to come and be engaged with us. We're bringing in a couple of really dynamic leaders in the theological field. The first week of annual meeting, we're fleshing that out as a content week. So we're bringing in Susan Thistlethwaite. She is the former president of Chicago Theological Seminary, professor there for, I don't know, 20 some years. She is a powerhouse. Susan is going to talk to us about not only the intersection of this weird moment of time we're finding ourselves in, where everything that we used to do is getting kind of thrown up in the air, but also the intersection with what's happening in the social unrest here in America, which actually is a very, very liminal moment, a moment that we can make changes in the world. And that intersection is pretty exciting. For me, I'm believing that no place in time in my lifetime has church ever had a greater ability to make a difference in the culture. Because we have been unsettled from all our comfort. And now we've got to figure out new ways to be. And I think we can be a voice of change in this moment of civil unrest and even church unrest, really. So Susan's going to lead us through some of that. We're going to have watch sessions in that first week, and you'll get a good schedule that gives you opportunities. They're going to be scheduled all times of day. So if you're working during the daytime, you're going to be able to be part of it in the evening. So we're going to have that in the first week. And on that Saturday of the first week, then Susan's going to be live with us Saturday morning and be able to do conversations about what her keynote was about. So we'll watch it all week long, and then we'll talk with her on Saturday morning. Erin, do you want to talk for a moment about the joint in the middle, which is the Sunday worship? You want to talk about what we're going to do for folks on Sunday worship during annual meeting?
Well, thanks to our Southeastern Association, yay! They are putting together a joint worship service. It will be pre-recorded, but it will be an offering from the lay folks and clergy from the Southeastern Association, and will be leading us through a service of music and reflection and lament. And Susan Thistlethwaite will be preaching on that Sunday. So this will be pre-released, so every congregation can use it for their Sunday morning, whether they do it live or a pre-recorded service. This will be an option for all members of our conference to be able to share and worship together.
I love the fact that it gives all of our people who are leading worship, not just our pastors, but our lay leaders as well, a weekend off. So they can all just be part of that and not have a weekend off in the middle of the summer. That'd be great. And then as we move into our second week, that's really our week of business. Our business meeting will be Saturday, August 1st. And you'll need to be pre-registered. One of the things that's really important for all of us to recognize, we're going to be putting out registration, but you need to be pre-registered, because in order to secure our meeting and ensure that bombers don't get in one sort or another, we're going to only let in those people who are pre-registered. So we're going to make sure that everybody knows that ahead of time, but make sure you pre-register. In the registration, you're also going to have the opportunity to donate to some of the funds that we think are important this year. There will be 3 COVID options. So there will be an option for you to contribute to a COVID relief in each of our 3 states, Colorado, Wyoming, and Utah. There will be an option as well for La Forêt. We were to be in La Forêt for our annual meeting this year. As you can well imagine, La Forêt has taken pretty good hits as they're not getting the business that they'd gotten, and we want to show our appreciation to La Forêt. So if you'd like to contribute there. And the other option is going to be a conference option, which is related to a movement we're putting together right now, and we'll talk about more in annual meeting, related to Black Lives Matter or related to social justice in our world. So there will be those options to contribute to help drive forward the work. But the actual cost of conference is nothing, of the annual meeting is nothing. It's free to everyone. These are optional offerings that you can make. So moving into the second week then, we're going to have John Dorhauer is going to be there for our Thursday night conversation. It's a talk back with him for an hour and a half. Of course, you know, he's our general minister and president. A gracious man, talks theology like few others can. I think it'll be a real treat, and we'll be able to talk to him about his thoughts in this moment as the church is changing. And then we cap it all off on August 1st, Saturday morning. We'll have our business meeting. All the business items will be reviewed the week before in evening sessions that people can tune into. We've also put some pre-recorded information up as well. So by Saturday morning, we think the business meeting will run fairly fluidly, and we'll have a lot of people on Zoom that morning. Again, you need to be pre-registered. And that caps our annual meeting. That's the 2-week run of annual meetings. So we hope you'll enjoy it. We want you to recognize we have taken full advantage of the fact that we can do this electronically versus doing it everybody having to be in one window of space and time at one time. So we hope it'll offer you many, many blessings.